I was just about to film a video, a little sort of 6-month update on Jeep Wrangler ownership, and then I realized I'm out of gas and it's absolutely filthy. So I'm gonna grab some gas, I'm going to wash the Jeep, and then I'm gonna talk to you guys, gonna tell you the things that I love about this Jeep, the 6-month update. I will be making a separate video on all the things I hate and dislike. But yeah, this video is gonna be a little bit different. No more Firebird content for today. Let's go ahead, let's get some gasolina, because this thing eats it. It's just not stopping. It's just not stopping. Yeah, going down a dirt road after I wash the Jeep. That's such a smart decision. I'm sure it won't get dirty again. All right, so after spending more than I care to admit in gas, I welcome you to my 1993 Jeep Wrangler YJ. Now, there's a few reasons you're watching this video. One, it randomly showed up in your recommended. Welcome, my name's Nick, this is Olsen Auto. I make cool car videos and things like that, whether it's working on my Firebird kind of Trans Am thing, my Honda Prelude, or racing dirt bikes. I kind of do everything in between, so welcome. Either you found me through those recommended videos or you're looking to purchase a Jeep YJ or some sort of Jeep Wrangler. I'm gonna be telling you guys all the things that I absolutely love about my Jeep Wrangler, and in about a week, I'm gonna be making a follow-up video on the things that I hate. There are certainly some things that I don't exactly love about this Jeep Wrangler, and I wanna tell you guys so you can make an informed decision if you guys decide to go buy one. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go over the vehicle, tell you guys some of the modifications that are done to it, how many miles, all that stuff, tell you about it, how many miles I've put on it since I bought it, and then I'm gonna go into the 5 things that I love the most about this Jeep Wrangler. I purchased this vehicle early in 2021. I paid $4,300 or $4,400 for it, and it had just under 140,000 miles at the time. I think it had about $129, maybe 131, somewhere around there. I'm now sitting at just under 140 at 139, so I've put probably about 8,000 to 10,000 miles on this vehicle since I bought it. And the only thing that I really had to do besides lube up all of the lock cylinders, because all of these were pretty gross and gummed up and didn't work perfectly, and get more keys because my other key actually broke in the door lock on like the 2nd day of ownership. But besides that, I did an oil change. That's pretty much it. Speaking of oil change, one of my favorite things about this Jeep Wrangler is the engine and transmission combo. This is the 4-liter straight 6 with a 5-speed manual, and this engine is amazing. Now, I just might be the only person in the world who actually uses a hood rod as opposed to just resting the hood on the windshield, but that's just who I am as a person. Like I said, guys, this is the 4-liter straight 6. This is an engine made by AMC, and it is often regarded as one of the most reliable engines ever made. My dad, for example, had one of these in a Grand Cherokee, and it lasted well into the mid 300,000 miles before it started having some other issues, and all he had to really do were lifters. This engine makes a little under 200 horsepower, and it is extremely torquey. I think about 220 foot-pounds of torque. Really great fun to drive, and since I have upgraded 410 gears, which obviously changes that, adds a bit more torque, a bit more low-end power, it's super torquey. But with the 410s and the 31-inch tires that I have on here, it actually works really well on the highway. I can do about 65 miles an hour, and besides the fact that I'm in a lifted Jeep, it cruises right along. Like I said, I do have those 31-inch tires on some American racing wheels. I believe they're 16-inch wheels and 31-inch tires. And it's also lifted about an inch on a body lift. You guys can see it's just right up there. It's an inch body lift and a 3/4-inch shackle lift. The whole frame was redone, so there's no rust on this particular Jeep, although that is one of the things I'm gonna mention in my next video about some of the flaws with these Jeeps. And mine was completely safety capped, which it's a brand that makes upgraded frame patches, if you will. So mine is in really good shape, minus the fact that I hit a guardrail. But besides that, it's in great shape, and those 31-inch tires are super nice to have on there. Somehow I managed to run into somebody. Well, they ran into me. I was in a parking lot in the middle of nowhere, just like this, and there were still somehow people over there. Don't know how. Gonna go ahead, continue some of the things that I absolutely love about this Jeep. Now, this is probably the most insignificant detail, which is why I'm gonna get it out of the way now. But the gas cap is behind the license plate, and that makes me so happy because I went to one of those full service stations. Watching the 16-year-old gas station attendant kid try and find the gas cap for this Jeep, he spent about a minute looking, like a solid minute looking around the vehicle, And then he came up to the window, he goes, "Where's the gas cap?" And I go, "Behind the license plate." He then looks for another minute and still couldn't find it. I had to come out and point it out to him. I said, "Yeah, it's on springs, it'll do that." He then slams it when he doesn't realize that it doesn't stay open. And he was like freaking out, and I was like, "Dude, it's a 30-year-old Jeep, you're good. I don't think slamming the license plate against it is gonna damage it." But that was super funny, and like I said, super minor little detail, but it's just a cool little thing to have. It's kind of cool that it, you know, does that. Although it's a real pain, I will admit, it's one of the things I also don't like. But the pros outweigh the cons there. It's a cool little feature to have, and a lot of the older Jeeps have it as well. So it's just pretty cool. The third thing that I want to mention that I absolutely love about having a Jeep Wrangler. Now, if you guys don't know the channel, you don't know what I drive, I also have my Firebird. I had a slammed Honda Accord, and I have my lowered Honda Prelude. And going from all these low riding cars to something with some actual ground clearance is so insanely nice. Not only is being able to go down dirt roads without being scared that I'm gonna rip my oil pan off a huge benefit, but we also have the little things like when you're pulling out of a parking spot and there's a bush in the way, like over there, something like that, you can actually see over it. Or if there's like a, you know, a wall or something, you can see over it. In the Accord, when you were pulling out of a lot of places, you couldn't see, and you kind of just had to hit the gas and hope for the best. So having a vehicle with this type of ground clearance, if you're considering a Jeep Wrangler, especially if you're in an area where there's a lot of bushes or a lot of hills, you're gonna want to take that into consideration because it is an awesome feature to have. The next thing I want to mention on this particular Jeep Wrangler, and with all Jeep Wranglers, is 4x4. I live in New England, so we get snowy, we get muddy, we get rain and all the fun stuff that no one likes. However, having 4x4 makes the snow basically obsolete. The only thing I'm worried about really is ice, but even then these tires are set up for studs if I ever decide to run them. That being said, I wouldn't need the studded tires. I've driven this thing through all of the snow you could imagine. I've gone off-roading in the snow with it. Not crazy off-roading, but off-roading nonetheless. And having 4x4 is such a nice feature. Now if we go into the driver's side, you guys can see right here, we have 4 high and 4 low, and you can shift, oh my 4, there we go. The shift knob was loose. So right here, you guys can see, can shift it from 2 high, 4 high, neutral, or 4 low. Right now it's in 2 high. Obviously you don't drive around in 4x4 unless it's really snowing out. But having 4x4 is awesome. You can push through just about any snow you want. And I've actually only gotten this thing stuck in the mud once, to the point where I had to put it in 4x. It grips up really well in the mud, and I was probably up to like here in mud on the tires before I had to actually put it in 4 high, and then she tanked right out, no problem. So awesome feature to have if you live somewhere where it snows and you're considering a Wrangler for your first vehicle. I highly suggest you get one, just because of the 4x4. I had my Honda Accord, which was an 05 Accord Coupe, just a little 4-banger automatic, but I had it lowered on some wheels, exhaust, all that stuff. And one of the times I was coming back from my college was about a 100-mile trip, and it was during a snowstorm. I actually drove back from there every single weekend, dropped out of that school, thank God. Anywho, I was driving back, and my front lip that I had on the car was actually so low that I was plowing the highway. It was pretty bad. Like, I was driving through the highway, right? Snow on the ground in front of me, and I looked in my rear view and there was no snow behind me, and I started having transmission problems because I packed so much snow into the radiator and transcooler that it filled right up, blocked all the air from getting to it, and the transmission was overheating. The car was getting a little warm. I'm like, okay, maybe I should buy something with a bit more ground clearance. And then like maybe a month and a half later, I picked up Big Red here. So definitely something to take into account if you're looking for a first vehicle. Having ground clearance or 4x is going to be awesome, especially if you're younger, you know, maybe 16, 17, getting your first car, and you're going to need to get to work to pay for that car. And if it's snowing and you can't get to work, that's going to be a problem. So I probably won't be selling this for quite some time until I at least get another SUV, but I love this Jeep, and the value on them has skyrocketed since I bought it. All used cars have, as you guys know, so that's definitely a plus. I could probably sell it for roughly double what I paid, so certainly not complaining there. If you guys can pick one up, pretty much under $5 grand, it's a deal. But with 4x4 out of the way, the next feature I want to show you guys, I might throw in a few extra little features because I really do love this truck, if you will, this SUV. I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna put down the camera, I'm gonna show you guys my next favorite feature. I'm sure you guys can guess what it is, but let's go ahead. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Open the door, lift the limiting strap, and your door is removed. the door is back on. Such a weird little feature, and at first, I kind of thought it was gimmicky, but in the summertime, since my AC doesn't work, this is kind of a rare model. It has the AC in it. I gotta fix it, so someone remind me to do that. However, the AC doesn't work in this particular one. Pop the doors off, and it is so nice to cruise with no doors on. And it is actually legal in all 50 states to do that. The only requirement is you have to have these mirrors mounted somewhere on the vehicle, because obviously mounted to the door, you take the door off, you don't have rear view mirrors. So you gotta get one of those A-pillar mounted mirrors that go right here, and then you're all set to take your doors off. The reason that's actually legal is because of this lip right here. It's maybe a 6-inch lip or so, and it's called a tub, essentially, is the body of the Jeep, and that's what allows you to run this with no door. For some reason, that makes it legal. I don't know why, ask the government. You can also do a very similar thing with the roof here. There's some bolts right up along there, and then there's some right here in the back. If I open up this little rear hatch, right here you can see there are some bolts. There's a spider web back here. These are all Torx bits. I don't go back here in the Jeep often because there are a ton of spider webs. That's kind of funny. Take off those Torx bits on there, on that side, and then up top. 2 people can easily lift the roof off of the Jeep, and now you can run it with no doors, no roof, and I have yet to do it, but you can actually fold the windshield down as well since it's hinged. That's for the windshield to fold down like that, and then it rests on these. I have yet to do that, but it can be done. So you can pretty much take apart this entire vehicle with like 2 tools. Another huge benefit to this vehicle, and it seems minor, especially if you're just looking at something like this for a daily driver and maybe you're not much of a car person and you're just looking to pick up a Jeep Wrangler, but I'm going to mention it anyway. You have your tachometer right here. You have your speedometer right here. Mine's not accurate because I have bigger tires and different gearing, so that'll change the accuracy of my speedo. But then we have all of these other gauges here. We have a battery voltage, oil pressure, coolant temp, fuel. You have your odometer and speedometer. So right here you have all of the really important information that you need. You also have a 4x indicator. Some of the older model Wranglers will have a clock right there. There's actually no clock in this whole vehicle. I have an upgraded head unit right here. That's the only clock I have, and even then I just use my phone because I don't know how to set that clock. That being said, the 4x light doesn't work in this Jeep. It's a known Chrysler problem where the 4x4 sensors that sit on the bottom underneath the truck, they'll go bad, and that's something that happened with mine. But just having all of this information displayed right here is super helpful. You can make sure it's not overheating, you can make sure it's building oil pressure, you can focus on all of the big things that you need to, and that's super cool. In addition to that, I'm gonna sort of add this on as the same point. It's a very simple vehicle. Now, if I didn't have AC, it's literally just the vents up here and some foot vents down there, and then that's it. That's your heat. You have your climate control right here, so you got off, vent, and then your floor heat. I'm not sure what vent does. I honestly have no idea. And then you have warm and cool, and then your fan speed. Gonna talk about the climate control in my next video about things I don't like. I still have to fix my AC, of course, which is all these extra vents. The simplicity of this vehicle, in addition to the manual window cranks, manual door locks, except for one of my door handles, the clip broke again. Very simple vehicle, not really much can go wrong, and the things that do go wrong are very cheap and easy to fix. Now, the last point that I want to mention about this vehicle here, about my 93 Wrangler YJ, it's just a fun vehicle to drive. Now, turning and doesn't do it very well. Highway, no, doesn't do it very well. Fuel efficient, not even close. But it's really fun, and it's worth all those hassles, all those struggles, because being able to just go, I don't want to say wherever you want, because obviously it's still a Jeep, but it's a very small vehicle, and that's something else I want to mention, is this is incredibly tiny. Even compared to my Prelude, which I thought was a small vehicle, it doesn't really look that much bigger. I mean, obviously it's higher, but it's about as wide as the Prelude, and it's super cool to have such a small vehicle. Like, I could take it up there if I really wanted to. I'm not going to. I think that's illegal, but that hasn't stopped me before. Anyway, it's just a really fun vehicle. If you guys are considering one for your first car, just make sure you have enough money to focus on gas. It is a gas guzzler. Even the newer Jeep Wranglers, the TJs, the JKs, and the JLs, they're all gas guzzlers too. You're gonna get 15 to 20 miles per gallon. Throw a lift kit and some aftermarket gearing in it, and you are screwed. but you're gonna have fun. You can go down dirt roads, not worry about bottoming out. You can put it in 4x whenever there is snow on the ground, take the doors off and head down to the beach. Tons of little things like that that don't seem major, but they're super cool, and I would say the Jeep Wrangler is an awesome first car. I used to be super pro, you know, Honda Civic, Honda Accord, reliable, small four-banger, but if you're a decent driver already and you're ready to get your first car, then I would say the Jeep Wrangler is awesome. If you're not looking at your first car and you're just wondering about the Jeep Wrangler, it's an awesome vehicle. I love it. It's dead reliable. I've never had an issue with it. Again, minus the stupid things like when I bought it, the rear window struts right here were blown out. It took about 3 minutes to replace. My door clip broke recently. Would take maybe 10 minutes to replace, and it's like a 2-cent part. Little things like that. I had a windshield wiper break, but that's just a wear item. Nothing has really gone wrong on this. For the heat, I only have high fan because one of the fuses blew out. It happens. It's just those little things that go wrong. These are things that are going to happen on a 30-year-old Jeep. Again, if you're looking at a newer Jeep, you're all set. And the TJ, one generation after this, is the TJ. Also comes with that 4-liter straight 6. So if you guys want to get a newer Jeep, look at those. They do have a lot bigger issues with frame rot, so keep that in mind. So yeah, it's a really fun vehicle. It's not fuel efficient. It's dead reliable. Will never leave you stranded, except for the one time I left my daytime running lamps on, but that's user error. If you guys have any more questions about this vehicle and you're looking to pick one up, go ahead and comment down below. I want to be able to answer any questions you guys may have. You know, I can answer it to the best of my ability. I've only been in Jeep life for about 6 months, but I've been loving it so far and trying to learn as much as possible. So any questions you guys have, drop them down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more content like this and you want to see the things that I don't like about this truck, Jeep, SUV thing, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because in roughly 1 week I'll be uploading a video on the 5 things that I don't like about this Jeep Wrangler. I know I probably did more than 5 things in this video that I do like, but it's a fun vehicle to have, so it's kind of hard to keep it limited to 5 things. So yeah, make sure you guys are subscribed for that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.